Hi guys, welcome back. So in this video, I am going to be talking about the books I'm currently reading here at the start of 2020 and some of the books that I'm really looking forward to read throughout the year. And so some of the books that I'm looking forward to, they're either books that have already come out, books that are going to come out, and I'll kind of just tell you why I'm excited and stuff like that. So yeah, let's jump right in. So one of the things that I usually get made fun of for as a reader is the fact that I like to read multiple books at a time. I have honestly always been this type of reader, and I remember it starting in second grade actually, when I would read like Henry and Mudge books and like Frog and Toad. Do you guys remember those books? But I would read those, and I would read them like at the same time. I would be reading Cam Jansen books, and it's just, I've always been that way. I don't know why, but I like to read multiple books at a time, and I'm good at remembering like what's going on in each book. I've never really like struggled with that, like keeping things straight. So that's just the way I like to read. So I'm currently reading about 5 books right now. And the thing that I tell people to kind of like justify myself is I read them at different times. So I have like an audiobook that I listen to on the way to and from work, or if I go on a walk or something like that, or if I'm exercising. And then other books I like to read while I'm on my lunch break at work, or maybe one of the books I like to read before I go to bed. So it kind of just depends on my mood and stuff like that. But there's a rationale behind all of it, basically. So to start, these are the books that I'm currently reading. So first up, The Help by Catherine Stockett. I've actually never read this before, which is interesting because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it. I think it's amazing, and I've always heard good things about the book. It's a lot of people's favorites. Honestly, it has amazing reviews on Goodreads. Like, I know that it's a great book, and I'm just finally getting around to reading it. So I'm only about like 40 pages into this one. I have a physical copy, but I also have the ebook. So I kind of go back and forth between reading which, like, either the physical copy or the ebook, and then just finding my place. But that's the first one. And then I am also reading, again, I mentioned this in my previous video, but I'm listening to Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this is my audiobook for the time. And I think 52% of the way through it. And I really love to listen to it on my way to and from work, and if I go on a walk. And this audiobook is amazing because it has a full cast, which I think is great. And I don't think I've read a book with a full cast or listened to a book with a full cast. And I heard that the author actually picked out who was reading which part, like she casted the readers, which I think is super cool, and that had to have been a cool experience. So the audiobook is amazing. Read it in any form. You guys know how I feel about this if you watched my previous video. It's so good. And I am actually going to have a review of this book. I need to make one just for myself because it's just, it's amazing. So yeah, that's my current audiobook that I'm listening to. Guys, don't mind the hair change. I was annoyed with the ponytail and I didn't like how it looked. But next up, I'm reading Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And this is actually the book that I'm reading with my friend from Omaha. And this is our January book club book, I guess you could say. And I know everyone is talking about this book. Everyone loves it. I think it won a Goodreads award for 2019 for either best debut novel or best YA. I'm not 100% sure. But first off, I love my friend, but she's a genius because she found this service called Book of the Month, and it's like a book subscription box, and they have 5 books that they pick, different, like, and they're all from different genres and different books that are kind of like up and coming authors or just highly anticipated books. And you get to pick which book you want from that list of 5. And if you don't like a particular month with the list of 5 you can skip, and then that credit just like rolls over to the next month. And I actually have a link that if you use it, I think you get your first book for like $5, and then like I get a free credit or something. But I would highly recommend doing this. It's super cool. It's super cute. I'll actually link my friend's video below because she explains it way better than I do and knows more about it. She explained it to me. But it's so cute. They have these little like details with like the little book of the month like logo and over here, and then on the back it even says like, so this was the December book, so it says December 2019. And can we just look how cute that is? It's so cute. I love it. And then actually, if you take off the dust jacket, the hardcover even has like December 2019. I mean, the details. It's so cute. I love it. And I would highly recommend. And so after you pay for like that first book, which is like $5, like I said, or five or $6, every other like month, I think it's like $15, but they're always hardcover and you can add additional books. And so I got this one for January, and then I'll show you the January ones that I got because they're my books that I want to read in 2020. But I'll show you those. But you get your second book for only $9.99. And everyone knows hardcovers are way more expensive, but they're nice to have and they look really pretty. So I would highly recommend. But yeah, so this is one of the books I'm currently reading. I'm reading it with my friend, and we're gonna just talk about it at the end of the month. And actually, we're gonna be making a video on her channel. And this is just so funny because we've always wanted to be like YouTube people who like promote each other. So we're actually going to be making a video reviewing this, kind of just doing like a chatty review on her channel, and I'll make sure to tell you guys where you can find that. So yeah. So the other book that I'm reading is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and I wanted to read this before I saw the movie. I feel like a failure for not having read this already. We won't talk about that though. But anyway, so I wanted to read this before I saw the movie, but I went with my friend last weekend to see it, and it was so amazing. We were both crying, and it was really, really good. And so this is kind of my back burner read right now. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have like a due date for it because like I read a lot of books through my library and stuff, so but I don't have a due date for this one, so it's kind of on the back burner. And I think though I'm like 11% of the way through it, so yeah, that's my back burner read. Another book that I'm about to start is Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory, and this is the 4th book in her Wedding Date series, and I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this one for months from the library, and I'm so excited to read it. I love Jasmine Guillory. I read 2 of her books last year and I really loved them, and I'm sure this one, it's going to be the same. So this will be a quick read for me, I know, because her books are just super fun and yeah, they're great. So I'm excited to read that. Okay, so now for the books that I'm super excited to read in 2020, and kind of they're on my list to read, TBR. And so some of these, like I said earlier, they are books that are already out. Some of them are going to be coming out this year. But the first one is Ask Again, Yes by Mary Beth Keane. And this is actually one of the books that I got through Book of the Month that I added to my January box because I've been wanting to read this so badly. And I actually asked for it for Christmas and I didn't get it. And so I'm like, I'm gonna get it myself because I need it in my life, I know. So like I said, they have those cute little details. And actually last year, this was the June book of the month, so it tells you that on the back. But yeah, so I'm super excited to read this. It sounds so good. I've heard great things. So yeah, that's one that I'm really excited for. And then the other book of the month book that I got in the January box was The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And I'm really excited to read this. It's not something I probably would have like picked up on my own. So that's another really good thing about the book of the month box is it kind of gets you out of your reading comfort zone, I guess. And so this was the book that my friend and I both chose. So this will maybe be our February book that we read. It kind of depends. We have to talk about that yet. But yeah, so I'm excited for this. It's a mystery. It has those, just the details. I love the details so much. And like on the back and everything, it's great. So yeah, I'm excited to read this kind of mystery thriller. I think it's kind of like a ghost story too, so that'll be kind of interesting. But yeah, so that's another one. And then I also want to read Sorry I'm Late, I Didn't Want to Come, One Introvert's Year of Saying Yes by Jessica Pan. And I got this for Christmas from my little brother, and it's just kind of funny because everyone who knows me knows that I'm not the most outgoing person. Once you get to know me, then I don't stop talking, but just in general, I'm kind of like a homebody. I don't really like going out and doing things, and having to human is the way I put it. So I really want to read this, and maybe it'll help me with, you know, putting myself out there more in my own life. So yeah, I'm excited to finally read this because I've been wanting to read it for a while now. So the next book that I'm super excited to read in 2020 is The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren. So this book comes out on March 24th of this year, and it sounds super cool. I love Christina Lauren. Like, I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times more. Like, they're amazing. I love their books and just the way that they write characters and the way that they're able to, I don't know, just the way that they write a story is just amazing. And so I'm really excited for this one. And I know I had said Twice in a Blue Moon, their last book, wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm really hoping that this one is kind of like back to their kind of normal, not even normal, I guess, but just, I don't know, like it has the qualities that I really like in their books. Like, I hope those are back in this book. I'm really, fingers crossed. It's about these two assistants who have to keep their bosses from kind of like going off the rails, because their bosses are these kind of, think like Chip and Joanna Gaines level, like DIY home flippers, like that sort of like world. They have to keep their bosses from kind of like going crazy and like killing each other because they have a rocky relationship. And then of course the assistants probably fall in love, which will be great. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, so the next book that I'm super excited to read is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. And this is a book that came out in December 31st of last year. So right at the end. I've heard so many people talking about it and posting about it. Everyone is adding it to their list on Goodreads, and I think it's going to be a great one just based off of the description and what other people have said. It kind of explores transactional relationships and just navigating being a grown-up and stuff like that. So I will make sure to have all of these books like linked below for people to check out if you want to do that. But yeah, so I'm really excited to read that one. This year, I also want to read One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus, and that's the author who wrote One of Us Is Lying and Two Can Keep a Secret. I really, really enjoy her books. I know some people don't. They're not like their cup of tea, I guess, but I really like the way she writes YA thrillers / suspense novels. And this one is actually a sequel to One of Us Is Lying, and I was obsessed with that book. I loved it. So I'm really excited to read the sequel to that. I'm also excited to read Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, which is the second novel in the Hot and Hammered series. And it follows Rosie and her husband and their like kind of rocky relationship that we get a little bit of a taste of in the first book, Fix Her Up, which I talked about and I read last year, and it was amazing. It's so cute. So I'm really excited for this one. I can't wait to read it. It actually comes out January 14th of this year, so just in a few days from now anyway. I don't know when I'll be posting this, so it might already be out. But yeah, I'm probably actually gonna buy that one right away. I'm not gonna like wait for it from the library because I love the first one. I would be shocked if I didn't like this one, and I'm just so excited to read about Rosie and her husband, and also probably see Tessa, the girl from the first one. So reoccurring characters, my thing. I'm also excited to read Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, and ever since I read The Perks of Being a Wallflower in middle school, that was that was and has been my favorite book that I've ever read. And I mean, I know I talked a huge talk about Where the Crawdads Sing, Daisy Jones and the Six, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and those are my favorite books that I've ever read too. But I think Perks of Being a Wallflower will always be my number one, just because of it meant a lot when I read it at the time, and it just, that book has like the biggest place in my heart because it's just Charlie. Oh, I love the characters. I love the story. I love everything about that book. I love the movie. I love Stephen Chbosky, and I was so excited when I saw that he wrote another book because he hasn't written anything really other than The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So I was super excited to see this, and it came out last year, I think in October or so. So I'm really excited to read it. I think it only has like a 3.5 star rating on Goodreads, but I don't even care because I love Stephen Chbosky and I want to read this next book of his. So, and then kind of just the last few books that I'm excited to read. I don't even have the names of all of them. I'm just gonna read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books because I love Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, like I've said 1,000 times. So I want to read everything she's ever written because I just loved those two books, and if her other work has the same type of like characters and relationships in them, like, sold. I'm not even fully prepared for how it's gonna make me feel. I hope they're amazing. I'm actually on hold for I think all of her books at the library right now, and once I finally get those, I will be putting down whatever I'm reading probably to pick those up. So I'm super excited. I love her. She's definitely one of my now favorite authors. So yeah, and that concludes all of the books currently that I have on my to be read list. My list is forever long always, but those are the ones at the top, and those are the ones that I will be reading coming up soon. So stay tuned for maybe some reviews for some of them. If I really love them, I'll probably make a video about them because I'll need to talk about them. If any of these books are books that you're excited to read, let me know in the comments. What are the books you're excited for in 2020? I'm always looking for new books to read and books to add to my list. Just it's always an ongoing list, and it's never ending, and I'll probably never read all the books I've ever wanted to read because there's just so many in the world. But comment below. I want to add more books to my list. I want to know what you're reading. And yeah, if there's anything you want to see from me, let me know. Let me know if you liked this type of video. I could maybe do kind of like my monthly TBR. That could be a thing, maybe, depending on how my reading like progression is going. Sometimes I get in reading slumps and I go like 2 weeks to a month without reading anything. But yeah, let me know, and thank you for watching. If you want to follow me on my Instagram, I'll be posting reviews of all of the books that I finish on there, and it'll be on my Goodreads. I'll have that linked below, and if you want to be my friend on there, feel free. And yeah, subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.